Hello, my name is Brennan and I'm a Systems and Support Specialist here at Tormach, and today we're going to talk about probing routines that are already set up in PathPilot. Some safety stuff first. Anytime you're running a probe in the Tormach machine, we'll want to disengage the spindle. In an enclosure situation, we remove the spindle key switch. So we're going to open the spindle door, which will eliminate the possibility of the spindle starting. Also, we'll want to make sure that the probe is active and working. The setting in PathPilot is specific for which type of probe, and we've selected the digitizing probe. And we also must have it set to tool 99 to give it the proper offset and for it to allow the machine to run through the probing routines. The last thing we'll set up before we get started is our speed. With the probing routines, you can run anywhere between 1 and 60 inches per minute. I happen to like 30. One thing we won't be covering in this video is the setup of the probe. If you'd like to check that out, you can check out a recently released video done by Daniel Rogi titled Getting Started with Work Offsets in PathPilot. And so just to confirm that our probe is set up properly, we want to check tool 99, we have our proper offsets. Great. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through some work offset setup, and we'll talk about the differences between the tabs on the screen and what they can help you accomplish. So when using the XYZ probe page, again, we're going to double check to make sure our feed rate is set to between 1 and 60 inches per minute. I happen to like 30. First one being that we can find our front left corner of a workpiece. To set this up, we'll want to be approximately 10 to 12 millimeters away from the front left corner, or approximately ½ inch. For this first example, we're going to use the find corner and set the work origin of the front left portion of your workpiece. To do this, you're going to want to bring the probe down approximately 10 to 12 millimeters away from the corner of the part, or roughly ½ inch. From there, we can go ahead and select Find Corner and Set Work Origin. So at this point, we'll want to check and see that our 0 is properly placed. So I'll raise the Z up so I'm not going to damage the probe, and simple G0 X0, Y0, and you can see that does bring us right over the corner of the workpiece. Next, we'll go through and talk about some of the other ways to find an edge and what are the different icons on the screen. It goes right in order: X plus, X minus, Y plus, Y minus. On the left-hand side, this will actually set the origin to that for your 0, where find X will simply find the side and give you the relationship to 0. And it'll actually display right under this tab here. And all of these operate the same. Lastly, we have find Z. Same thing applies here. If you want to use Z and set work origin, that'll actually set your 0 once you're done. Or if you just want to probe. So on this next example, finding X and set work origin, or just simply find X. A good example of this, I can slide this over to the other side of the part. And ask it to find X minus. At this point, you're not setting 0, but you're finding X and relating 0 to the other side. So you'll find X minus, and it'll display the relationship to the 0 coordinate. Where this other button over here on the left-hand side will find the edge and make that your 0. Or, like I had pointed out before, we can use probe X and set work origin. at which point now our x0 is directly over the right side of the part. So we'll do an example in Y as well so you can see. In this example, we're going to find Y positive. And now the work origin is set for the Y positive side. And if we want to check our work again, we can come over to the MDI line, G0, X0, Y0. And now we're referenced to the right-hand side of the part. One of the last functions on this page is to find the Z offset. Again, it's very important that you have the probe length set up in your tool table offset, which again we've covered in a previous video. So we'll move this over the workpiece. And find and set Z. So that's it for the XYZ probe page. From here, we're going to move on to the next tab where we can find the center of a pocket or the outside of a boss. On the Find Pocket Center page, we have the ability to find the center of either a circular or rectangle pocket, and we can do simply X or simply Y on its own. We are going to do both. Also, we can find the center of a rectangular or circular boss on this page. The first setup, we will use this example to find the center of a circle. So I've got the probe lowered into the center of the circle approximately, and we'll run this routine, see how it works. And it stops in the center of the circle, and to me that looks perfect. So for the next example, we'll move on, we'll find the outside of a boss. I had mentioned earlier that I like to run at 30 inches per minute when using a probing routine. This one's going to be a little longer. We're going to speed it up. We're going to jump to 50. And here we go. Okay, so we've finished the Find Rectangular Boss Center. Again, we want to check our work. Let's raise the Z up and see how it looks. And it looks perfect. For this next example, we're going to find the center of a circular boss. I have to point out that typically you would not hold a circle material in a vise like this, but for this example, this will work just fine. So we'll want to set up on the left-hand side of the circular boss that we want to find the center to, and from there we can run the probing routine. Here it goes. And of course, we'll want to check to see that it looks that it's in the center. Let's raise the Z up to move the probe tip out of the way. Enter an MDI command, G0X0Y0. And of course, it looks perfect. So that's it. A quick summary of our probing routines already set up in PathPilot. And for more information, you can check out our website. Thank you.